What's going down, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream right here on Cassius Morris Official. Now, this is a story that sort of went under my radar for the last couple of days, but as time goes on and the news continues to spread, this is actually picking up a lot of attention across the web. So let me give you guys all of the details you need to know here about this story featuring Kill Tony and the guys over in Los Angeles. Actually, I guess they're over in Austin, Texas now. But of course, the whole crew, we're talking Red Band, Jeremiah Watkins, they have all been picked up by Netflix. And this comes right after Tony Hinchcliffe's massive controversy, of course, featuring a distasteful joke at a Trump rally. And the fact that they're getting this deal is starting to confuse a lot of people, especially, I guess you could call them woke Netflix subscribers. So it was announced yesterday by Netflix that Tony Hinchcliffe is getting a 3 special deal based on his show Kill Tony. So I guess Netflix is going to be making some original content based on the series in the form of 3 different specials. They're going to start airing on April 7th, and he's also going to have a standalone 1-hour stand-up special. Of course, it's mentioned here that Tony Hinchcliffe drew criticism last year when he spoke at the rally for then presidential candidate Donald J. Trump. And I think we did do a story about this. Maybe we can pull up the Puerto Rico joke just so we can, I guess, refresh everybody's memory as to what we're exactly discussing. So this is Tony Hinchcliffe with the controversial joke.
Wow, isn't this special? 17 years ago, I was sleeping in my car behind the Comedy Store in LA, and I'm proud to say this is my 4th time performing at Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the damn world. The American dream alive and well right here. It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right.
Okay, so there we go, the Tony Hinchcliffe joke, just so everybody is completely up to speed about why people were offended by this. And by the way, looking back on that joke, was it really that bad of a joke? I mean, come on, Puerto Rico, I don't give a fuck who you are, what country you are. You gotta have a bit of a sense of humor. I mean, I'm Canadian. I've been sitting here listening to the President of the United States call my Prime Minister the governor for the past 6 months. You don't see me crying. You know, Puerto Rico, toughen up a little bit. It wasn't that bad of a joke. But I digress. So some of the woke Netflix subscribers are now completely throwing a fit when it comes to Tony Hinchcliffe getting this deal. One subscriber, according to NME, expressed their disappointment, saying, "As soon as I found out Netflix has signed on to do a comedy special with human piece of shit Tony Hinchcliffe, I immediately canceled my 6-year-old Netflix premium account. Hinchcliffe was the asshole who dehumanized Puerto Rican people. Dehumanized them. What a monster. At the RNC. A racist maggot." And this is just one of the many tweets that went up. Another tweet says, "Streaming services are kissing Trump's ass and trying to win over his MAGA cult. Tony Hinchcliffe, the stand-up comedian who angered people across America with his insults about Latinos and other minority groups at a New York campaign rally for Trump, just got a deal for 3 specials. It continues, hey, Netflix, I canceled everything, Amazon including Prime, over their decision to re-air The Apprentice. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Are you really this weak to air?" They spelled weak the wrong way. "This week to air the special." They go on and on complaining. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and justify these ridiculous complaints. But here's what I'm going to say about this. So I actually think this whole thing is a beautifully telling sign of the times, my friends. And this is why. We saw Tony Hinchcliffe go up and deliver the joke at the Trump rally. The joke was not that funny, okay? I will say that. The joke was not very funny, but it wasn't that bad either. And honestly, you're just a pussy if you're really offended by that. Grow up. That's at least my personal opinion. So we saw him do the joke. We saw the way it was received. People had the freedom to react to it. By the way, I believe that everybody who, even the comments we just read, everybody is entitled to react to this and have their say on it. I think that's totally fine. We saw the reaction. A lot of people didn't like it, and that's cool. Then Tony Hinchcliffe was demanded that, they said, we want you to apologize for this joke. Tony turned around and said, I refuse to apologize for this joke. He put up a statement tripling down on the fact that he actually meant this. And he said, this was comedy. Whether it's funny or not, I do not apologize. And after refusing to apologize in the face of cancel culture, we have now seen Tony Hinchcliffe go on to not only continue his career, but actually become wildly more successful than he has ever been up until this point. Now, not only has he performed at a presidential rally for the candidate who became a 2-term president, but he also now has a 4-special deal with the biggest video and media production company in the world right now. And I love every second of it. And here's why, folks. You are allowed to have your say about Tony's jokes. If you think Tony's joke was in poor taste, if you want him canceled, all these things, you have the right to say that. But guess what? Just because you don't like it, just because you don't agree with it, that doesn't mean Tony doesn't have the right to continue his career. Just like you have the right to be offended and bitch and cry and moan, Tony Hinchcliffe has the right to continue his career and to continue trying to push the envelope for stand-up comedy, whether you like it or not. And again, it's a beautiful sign of the times, folks, because I think as a society, we've finally moved on from this ridiculous cancel culture. If you make a joke that's not funny, write another joke. That's the only thing that needs to be done. You don't need to try to end somebody's career because they said a joke that was out of pocket. Maybe it didn't land the right way. And if you guys keep doing this to people who are simply trying to entertain the general public, what you will do is you will demoralize people from trying to do so. Do you guys want something to laugh at or not? Like, do you want something to watch? Would you like to go be able to go see a comedy show, be able to go listen to a podcast, be able to go listen to people make music and experiment with ideas? Do you want something to watch? Because if you do, you need to stop demoralizing creatives and trying to marginalize people when what they try to deliver doesn't always land. It's not always going to land. But this is a guy who's sitting at home. He's writing jokes. He's trying to be funny. He's trying to contribute something to the sphere of comedy. And you're sitting there doing nothing and you're bitching and moaning. So you don't honestly, like, it's at a certain point, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but let's not get carried away, especially if it's somebody out there that doesn't know what it takes to write jokes. They don't know what it takes to get out there every night. They don't know what it takes to try to build a career in this industry and how hard it is to even get an audience. So I don't want to hear it from anybody like that. This is ultimately where I'm sitting on this Tony Hinchcliffe scenario. I wanted to get somebody else in on the discussion really quick to see if we can get a call. And because I know a couple of really big Kill Tony viewers. So this is going to be an exclusive. Again, we're doing this live. So let's try to pop into a call right here. I feel like Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. I'll write it and I'll do it live.
Yes, we will do it live. How we doing?
How we doing? Justice Sanford in the building. Listen, man, whenever I say the words Kill Tony, there's only one person I think of. It's you. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's watched as many episodes of the show or is as informed about what's going on in that world. I just wanted to get your take at the end of this broadcast about the Netflix deal and Tony bouncing back from what seemed to be a pretty sure shot cancellation.
Man, so I'm really happy you think that of me, because I'm honestly just the biggest fan as anyone else, but I'm really happy to be able to get to share a show of this caliber with everybody and to put my opinion out there too, because this is a huge show. This is not This is not a small independent YouTube show. This is a show that broadens horizons as far as what's possible for people in creatives. So like to see somebody be potentially signed to Netflix after like developing something that was basically live streamed on like I can't remember the exact site, but it was just live streamed on a website and developed from there, right?
Exactly.
So I do have a few notes on this, and I'll try to read it here as I talk to you. But I've been watching the show almost. I'd say I've watched every show for at least the last 2 years, and it's been getting really hit or miss. And what I say by this is like when the good parts are there, the good parts are really, really there. And then when the bad parts are there, the bad parts are really, really obvious as well.
Okay.
So, and this isn't really Tony's fault because as we all know, this show has been getting huge. It's becoming bigger than he probably imagined, and there's probably a bit of struggle between um controlling that and really dictating where the success goes. And you can see that they've tried to cancel him twice now. This is not his first time
It's not his
being
first
almost canceled.
rodeo. No, not even close. So what do you think
No.
this is going to do for the quality of the show? Do you think this is going to make a better Kill Tony, or do you worry that Netflix might try to get their fingers in there and maybe get creative control? Like, do you worry about a watered down show?
Actually, I think it's going to do the opposite. I think this is going to be really, really good. And if you've been watching, he does certain specials on New Year's. He does certain specials throughout the year that are only that originally you had to pay for on his website. They do eventually make it to YouTube, but these are more so a paid one-time type of thing. And I think those have been paving the way to build up for something like this. And on those type of shows, there's no censorship. There's not. I don't think there's any advertisements or sponsors. Like when he does his YouTube regular ones, there's quite a bit of sponsorship, and some of them go, some of them stay. And so I think that he is building up for a show kind of like what he's been putting on his website that gets paid for, but like on a Netflix level and funded on a Netflix level. And those shows have been quality. Like Dice Clay has been on, Joey Diaz has been on, Joe Rogan. They got Brian Holtzman. Like all the highest level comedians that you can basically think of that are still currently active want a piece of this show. And I think that a deal like Netflix is going to bring that forward and going to be able to make that more achievable as well.
You mentioned the censorship as well. I mean, I think that's a great point because we've seen a lot of these shows being pressed down by YouTube's regime and sort of being under their thumb in a lot of different ways. And that can affect some channels to the point where, you know, some of their cast members can't even appear on the air. I mean, Nelk Boys had to remove Steve Will Do It from all of their videos and he couldn't even appear on camera or they'd be shut down. So, I mean, YouTube is very restrictive. So, I mean, do you think that not only this is going to help grow Kill Tony, but do you think that maybe this is a sign of, you know, some shows moving away from YouTube and looking at other platforms? Because personally, I think that this is, you know, something that we're going to see a lot of shows starting to diversify where they're actually putting it out.
Absolutely, dude. And you have to think of it like YouTube is great for the independent, the up and coming. But as soon as somebody wants to start really dictating where this is going, YouTube doesn't exactly like that.
Yeah.
YouTube kind of wants to remain in control, more so where Netflix is providing a thing. You know, Netflix wants you to go to Netflix so you can watch said show. So I think that as far as broadening his reach and really getting to his fans, this makes full sense because depending on topics and depending on what's being talk Jesus, depending on what's being talked about or just kind of what he's trying to push, even if he's serious about it or not, can really go both ways on YouTube. It can either really blow up or it can blackball him. Just like you look, and not to get into this topic, but you look at Joe Rogan when he interviewed Trump, that was
Yeah,
pushed down a lot by YouTube.
exactly.
So I think Tony wants to go, here's my show, watch it if you want, don't watch it if you don't want, but take it for what it is.
Exactly, man. No, super valuable feedback. I guess the last question I'll ask you, and it's not even about, let's try to keep it away from our personal views, but the intertwining the brand with Trump so heavily. Do you think that maybe if this wasn't the case, do you think there would be a lot of backlash about this? Or, I mean, personally, I don't think there would be any backlash if it wasn't, the intertwining with Trump. I mean, do you think that was a smart move on their part, or do you think they might have taken it too far?
I I do think it was a smart move because everybody's talking about it.
That's so true.
It's gotten everybody's attention. Whether you agree, whether you support, whether you're Canadian American or whatnot, you all heard about that. And
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, that's all this man wants to do is be heard about. He's making a name for himself. He's making a name for countless other independent or up and coming comedians, right? And he wants to continue that sort of thing. He doesn't want to fizzle out. He doesn't want to be that person that steps in for a trend. So of course he kind of had to take a harsh stance here, but he got his point across and he was able to get into your day-to-day feed whether you like it or not.
It's 100% true. See, this is why I had to get the man, the myth, the legend, Justice Sanford, to call in to put his 2 cents. Brother, I appreciate you checking in, man. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for having me, man, and keep doing what you're doing because you are also just on the same path as anyone else that's out here trying to make it.
My brother, it means a lot, man. Justice Sanford, everybody. Make sure to go and check him out. The band Youth Among Us on Spotify. So that's it, guys. I figured I'd jump on and talk about this, do a little bit of a longer form live. Shout out to the people who were out there. Neil Guido in the chat. Let me know what you guys thought down below about this whole situation. Has Tony Hinchcliffe actually outsmarted cancel culture? Or was, it always written that he was just going to continue and it really wasn't that big of a deal after all? Let me know what you think down below in the comments.